Hello, everyone.
Hello and welcome to
Why?
Why. My name is Chelsea.
And I'm Diana. And today we're going to talk about a very special subject, resilience.
My question right away is to all of you: are there moments in your life where you've had to adapt, and from that, where you've grown by showing resilience?
Resilience comes in six different domains, and the six different domains are as follows: vision, composure, reasoning, health, tenacity, and collaboration. So, we're going to talk about all of these different types of domains. And when I've had tough struggles, I've used some of these domains and I still struggle with some of them. So, we're going to kind of jump in and I'll tell you about where I've struggled and where I thrive in these areas.
Resilience holds a very special spot in my heart. Throughout my life, I found pride in being a cat with nine lives.
Okay.
And this year, I was ashamed of being that cat with nine lives. Wasn't able to get myself back up like I used to. I had to ask lots of whys. And I feel honored and blessed now to be on this podcast and share some of the tools and resources I used to get myself back up.
And when I met you,
Mhm.
I would have never imagined that you had gone through a difficult time as you describe, because you seem so full of life, energetic, positive. And I think that was what drew me to connect with you.
Mm.
You were such a positive person. And I would say if somebody can build resilience in that quick of a time, that for me is admirable, honestly.
And see, this is why we're friends. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
No,
No, bless your heart for
I
saying
didn't
that.
know
Thank you.
that. I see you as a very confident person. And if you questioned if you could get back up,
I was
that must have
dead
been.
inside. Uh, I lost I lost like 15, 20 pounds. But I think it was just like everything in life had crumbled. And then the resources that used to help me in a way set me further down into the hole. It
Oh,
was a really weird, dark spot to be in that now I look back and I am so grateful. And that's the cool thing about resilience,
because you
right?
grow from
You
this.
grow. So what you go through, you grow through.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, resilience isn't something that you're born with, obviously. It is something that you build through trials and tribulations of life.
I did a self audit this year with Mel Robbins. She has Make 2024 the best year yet. She has you break down into different departments in your life. So, health and wellness, career, money and success,
Ooh.
fun and happiness. And she says, like, what's working, what's not working,
Mhm.
and what are you going to do differently?
I like
And
that.
so each area of your life, like what is working, what worked in 2023. So
Mhm.
now what worked in 2024 that you're going to continue to do in
2025.
2025? What did not work in 2024 that you are no longer going to do in 2025? And
Mhm.
what did you do really well this year and that you're going to continue to do?
I like that.
Yeah, that audit really helped. Or making a vision board. I know we've spoken both about vision boards, and of course, I've cut out collages. I've used pictures, but the easiest, most efficient way, in my opinion, now to make a vision board is Pinterest.
You told me about that.
Yeah, so Pinterest, it has a template for you. So you could use images from online and you can even plug in your own images
Mhm.
and create your vision board. And then you have your vision board on your desktop, on your iPhone or whatever. Sorry, I didn't mean to be an
Android.
Apple, your Android,
You
yeah,
Apple
yeah,
snob.
on your cell phone. And you could also print it out. And I like to look at that vision before my morning meditation and before my evening meditation. Don't you find it so cool that when you start having a really clear vision, how even it just like even the people you meet, or certain things that people
Mhm.
start saying to you, like you can see your vision and what you are
Right.
manifesting start to come to
Yeah, to
fruition.
fruition. Yeah, it's almost like harmony. You start noticing how everything is just harmonizing. And that is the power of thought. That is the power of belief believing in manifestation and really attracting
Mhm.
what you want in life. I was 25 years old when I read The Secret for the first time.
Mhm.
And I felt like a baby. I felt like
25, you are a baby.
yeah, that's when your brain has fully developed at age 25. And so I read The Secret, and I remember I asked for a lot, actually. I asked to run a certain book of business, and it was in the millions, and drive a certain car, make a certain amount of money. And I put the picture of the vehicle that I wanted. I mean, everything. And I remember a friend of mine talking about a regional manager that was already in the position. And she's like, oh, and she wears Coco Chanel, Mademoiselle.
Ooh, I
And
love
so
that smell.
I went to buy Coco Chanel Mademoiselle, and I said,
Mm.
I will smell just like that person because that is a job that
Ooh.
I want. And within a year,
You had that job?
I had the job. I was driving the car. I was making that money, and I couldn't have been the happiest because I felt like I knew what it took. I really believed in the ability to have a vision, believe it, and see it come to fruition.
Mm-hmm. I do a lot of Joe Dispenza's meditations, and he guides you to feel as if it
Mhm.
has already happened.
Yes.
Like you're what you're wishing, what you're manifesting, what you desire, already yours.
Yes.
It's already done.
Yeah.
So by getting the perfume, I
I
love.
smell like I smell like success.
I absolutely love that because it's those little tiny things that will change your perspective, will shift your energy,
Absolutely.
will.
You getting ready every day and you spraying that perfume and knowing this is what success smells like.
Yeah, it's the affirmation. I am a boss. I am the boss.
Yes. It's amazing how this works.
Well, that's what we have mentioned that we just did Beast Games together, and I did these intense visualizations of winning $5 million. Did I win $5 million? No, but I did win my visions. So I would visualize like winning this $5 million, but more than that, I would visualize the connections I would make and the doors that would open from the games. Doing this podcast was something I have on my vision board, and here we are doing it. So you might have a vision in a way that you think it's going to happen,
Yes.
but that vision could still happen just in a different way. And,
Yes.
that goes to having a vision and then detachment from that vision. So not muscling that vision. It has to happen this way. It's to have that vision and have that belief that it's already yours and it's already coming to you. And then allow God, universe, source, whatever you believe in, to bring that in exactly the way it's supposed to be.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I love that. I love that. um, our second domain is one that I actually struggled with still, but I'm getting much better. And that's composure, keeping your composure. So it's the ability to regulate emotions or to be calm and in control when tough things are happening. Not to lose your shit. Like, don't lose control.
And it's so human to
Very
lose
human.
your shit.
Yes.
Diana and I
Yes.
have talked about the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. And most people, 70 to 80% of the time, they're living in the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight, versus your sympathetic, which is your rest and digest. So also, if you have digestion problem, that also comes with the stress and anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not only are we fight and flight mindset, our subconscious mind is in control 95%. So that right there, like, whoa, there's a lot of odds against us to be losing our stuff.
Losing our shit. One thing that I can say for myself is that I was born in Mexico. I came to the US when I was 8, so I didn't know English. I had to assimilate to a whole new culture. Didn't speak the language, so going to school was very difficult for me. Majority of the time, I think I was in fight or flight mode, and I think that stuck with me for years. The Latino culture, there's not a lot of communication. A lot of the time you're kind of lost and you're trying to figure out what to do. One thing that my sisters and I say about Latinos having children is they have a big family because they want to have children, but they want their children to take care of the other children. And it's so true. Like that's expected of us. For me, speaking about my Latino culture, we are a lot often very lost and aren't able to guide ourselves, don't have that guidance of or that parental figure that has structure. This is bedtime. This is the time for you to brush your
Mhm.
teeth. And so you are on your own. There is a lot of ways that you can lose your composure. And it's almost like you never understand the foundation of it, how to build your
Right.
composure. I struggled with that for many years. I mean, somebody would just say a word, and I was like, well, what do you mean? Well, I was so defensive. And I think not until I started going to therapy and understanding where is this response coming
Asking the
from?
why.
Yes. I had to ask, why do I
Mhm.
behave this way? Because I wasn't thriving with friendships.
Mm.
I I had friendships, but I was always in odds with them.
Mm.
And again, a lot of the time I was defending myself when there's no need to defend myself. I
Mm.
felt attacked. I was always fighting something or trying to avoid something. Those triggers come from some place or they were built at some time. And I think people struggle with wanting to know where they come from. And some people don't mind them. They don't understand that, hey, having composure will always allow you to make better decisions because we react so quickly to a heartbreak. We
Mhm.
react so quickly to rejection. But if we took the time to stop, okay, let's just kind of bask in our feelings. Let's feel sorry for ourselves for a minute, but don't react. Just feel it. It's okay to feel it. A lot of us don't want to feel that. We are so quick to react and say, okay, well, you know what? I got dumped. Let me do this. Let me do that. You're fighting
You're
those
kind of
feelings.
trying to
Coming from.
justify why you can feel this way. And sure, you can be a victim and you can make up excuses of why
Yes,
you are this way, or you can change and do the
you
work
can
and
work
do
on it.
something about it. I've heard once, I don't know exactly where it's from, where, okay, if you're feeling sad, put on a sad song and allow yourself to
To
feel
cry.
really freaking sad. And then when that sad song is over, be done. Or again, I'm obsessed with Mel Robbins. She says 5 second rule. Okay, feel sorry for yourself for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like you're telling a child, you're going to get in trouble if you don't stop it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give yourself that little bit of time and stop. And again, so much easier
Yeah,
said than
and
done.
done.
I mean, it's a choice. I felt that way. I don't even know if this goes with this. We're in the topic of composure. So I just finished
Oh,
a
bring it on, sister. It doesn't matter if it goes.
I just finished a 20-mile hike, 9,000 elevation.
I saw that.
A gorgeous, beautiful, great people I went with, and my right knee, I will say, talks to me. It talks to me, and I knew and I know that my right knee talks to me. And
Wait, what do you mean it talks to you? Like when it hurts, it says, hey, stop?
yeah, it's well, I don't like to say that it's injured, and I don't like to say that it's hurt. I like to say
Okay.
I like to say that it talks to me.
Okay.
And so especially going downhill, it
Mhm.
talks to me. And around we hiked for almost 14 hours. And for the last 6 miles, we were in the dark, in the snow, in the cold. So there's a lot of up and down. And coming the last 6 miles, my knee was
Yelling
yelling
at you.
at me. It was yelling at me. And there's three other people who've also been hiking all day and are hiking in the dark, right? So I thought, like, oh my goodness, in my mind, like, this really hurts. I don't want it. But, like, okay, so what are you going to do? Be stuck in the woods and feel sorry for yourself? What are you going to do? Slow everybody else down?
Right.
Or
Suck it up.
am I going to, yeah, kind of suck it up, but rely on, which is the beautiful power of breath, the beautiful power of
Oh,
breath
yes.
and movement. So I was like, everyone keep the pace. I also had sticks, which I swear by hiking sticks now. My body was so sore the next day. I was like, it hurt to brush my teeth. But so it hurt so bad. But if I just focused on one breath at a time and one movement at a time and telling myself, this might sound so corny, like how strong I am and
Yeah.
how cool this is, then it would all be good. And I swear, I was fine at the end of the hike. And the next morning, I had to hike for my job. And I was like, it was fine.
Really?
It was fine. There wasn't as much downhill. And then I did cryo. And of course, it's not 100%, but it was my composure. Like Would anybody have blamed me if I would have started crying and feeling sorry for
If
myself?
you would have lost it.
No, they wouldn't have blamed me, but what would that have done for me? What would that have
Probably
done?
put you in a worse position.
What
in a
would that
worse
have done to
place.
my relationships with these people?
We're
What would
never
that
taking her again.
Like they're like, when that's what I thought to myself too. I'm like, I don't want this to be my last epic adventure. You want to keep getting invited, don't you? Want to get invited
Yeah.
to the next adventure? Don't show your weakness.
By the way, I saw the pictures and the videos that you posted, and let me tell you, you did not look like you hiked 20 miles. You looked amazing.
Oh, thanks.
And the atmosphere was just so pristine. It was beautiful.
It was so pretty. And again, it like surrounding yourself with like-minded people and using your breath and believing that you could do it. I mean, you probably relate with your triathlons.
Yeah.
More than half of it is your
Mind.
mental.
Yeah, for sure.
Like we are so much stronger than
yeah.
we think we are.
Absolutely. For example, we went to Tahoe. Oh gosh, I don't remember the lake, but it was a pretty high elevation, and so we swam in this cold water. And I'm wearing a wetsuit, and right before my wave starts, the men go. My wave starts about 2 minutes after the men, and these men are fit. They're fit. You're not going to choose Tahoe to be your first triathlon. You're going to choose something easier. You're not going to go to high elevation for this. And so I started seeing people getting pulled in. What do they call the water?
The jet ski?
The jet ski. And I'm like, why is that guy getting pulled in? I mean, he's muscles everywhere, very fit. And then all of a sudden I see
you can pull me in any time.
Another guy was getting pulled in, and I'm thinking, like, what in the world is happening? Well, they always tell you you don't win a triathlon race the first 50 meters, like meaning take your time.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Yes. And the water was freezing. I started swimming and I couldn't breathe. And so I thought, is my wetsuit this tight? I started freaking out. And I told myself, you've done this so many times. There's nothing going on. It's okay. Just relax. And I just kind of stayed in the T position, like an upside down Jesus. And I kept my composure, and I settled down, settled my breath, and I just kept swimming. I thought, oh, this is why these people are being pulled in, because it was so cold and they couldn't catch their breath. So it was in the middle of the swim anyway. And you do have to keep your composure. Otherwise, you lose it. And your mind is the one that
it's trying to protect you.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So physically, I was able to do it. And I'm sure these men physically were capable of doing it as well. But if you don't keep your composure in the water, you could really lose your shit.
Most definitely.
The reason why they do the water event first is because the opportunity for people to drown is high. They don't want you to do it at the
They don't
end.
want you to be exhausted.
Yeah.
And then.
Right. So composure definitely plays a huge part.
I use something similar to that as my intention for my yoga class this week, it being the week of Thanksgiving, peace and grounding. So I would intentionally, like a cold plunge, get yourself really, really uncomfortable, get your heart rate up, and then have you balance on one leg. Then have you have to tap down, because if you go somewhere else in your mind, if you tell yourself this class is too hard, if you say it's too hot, then guess what? That's what's going to happen. You're going to fall out of it. But what if you tapped into your breath even deeper? What if you grounded into the earth even more in those moments? And then from there, how badass are you?
Oh, yeah.
Like I was really into the cold plunge, and I still am very into it. But it's that moment, like you were talking about, of like, oh my goodness, get me out, this is so unsafe, ow, 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 ow. And then when you push past that, there is a level of like,
yes. And it's almost like your body assimilates to what your thought process is thinking at that time. It just relaxes, and it's able to persevere so much more. So coming back to our 6 domains, the third domain that we want to talk about is reasoning. And reasoning is like problem solving, being resourceful, and when you anticipate and when you plan. So do I look for trusted resources to help and inform and guide me on my planning and how I will achieve either your academic or your personal goals or your professional aspirations. If somebody wants to work on how to have better composure, going to one of your classes and learning breath work. If somebody wants to improve their physical regimen, are they going to look for a trainer? Are they
Mhm.
going to plan and problem solve? What's your problem, girl?
Yeah.
Not necessarily a problem, but if you want to improve something, what resources are you going to look for to allow you to get there? I used to I used to run a female fitness boot camp. So
Mhm.
I trained girls, and this was back in 2013 to 2015 is when I was doing bodybuilding competitions. And a lot of the women that would come in, they had, not only did they have some, weight issues, but I think overall, when working with them, and once they come in and they learn, they adapt to structure and guidance and positivity. A lot of their belief system and their self confidence changed so much. Being around other women and being in a program where you don't have to feel pressured, you don't have to go to a gym and feel like everybody's watching you. It's just women being around women. Uh, that there's something so powerful in that. And we built a community where we were meal prepping. So not
Mm.
only were we working out, losing weight, we then went into meal prepping because, as you know, working your body isn't the only thing.
Yeah,
It's
we
you are
are
what
what
you
we eat. We are what we think.
yes.
Yeah, we are what we do.
Yeah, we built a community of women who empowered themselves and they lost weight, great about themselves. And it was such a great program to lose weight by yourself and to not have somebody to talk about your struggles of these are my cravings and I don't feel like working out today. Once you have that community of women that support you and have the same struggles, I think having resources and having a plan of how you're going to get there, you're going to be surprised of how much support you can gain from having that community and having a mentorship from somebody else that loves their passion, because I was so passionate about it. There was so much improvement in people's life. I loved being a part of that. But that was a good era in my life. The next domain talks about health, nutrition, sleep, and exercise.
Mm.
Health and nutrition are such huge topics that I truly believe makes a person resilient. The health and exercise for me was very important growing up because I often struggled with my English and my friends and
Mm.
just having a different upbringing. I use sports
Mm.
to calm me and relax me and help me just focus on something that was fun and not focus on what was going on at home and the problems. My parents never said, hey, you have to play a sport. They were too busy working. And so joining the Boys and Girls Club, actually,
Mm.
I would leave school and then go to the Boys and Girls Club, play basketball, and then come home. And so I had a regimen, I had guidance, and I felt having a team, having that camaraderie, and having those friendships really allowed me to grow as a person and make time commitments. So when I had my daughters and they were able to start playing sports, I said, hey, you've got to play a sport. To this day, my daughters played a sport as soon as they were 4 years old until they graduated from high school. And my little one, she's 15, she had a difficult time with that. She's like, I don't want to play sports, mom. I don't like to
Mm.
sweat. She did not like to sweat. She said, why do I have to do this? And I said, because it creates character, it builds resilience. You
Mm.
have a time commitment. You understand how to plan and it's healthy. I said, okay, well, then you could do chess club, you could be an artist, you can paint, but you're going to have an activity, something that will occupy your time and will allow you to plan. There's other people involved and come home, do your homework and be a kid. Just didn't think sitting at home watching cartoons was the thing to do. Now she plays volleyball and she thrives. She wants to be a college volleyball coach, and I think that sports. And exercise is so healthy for people. It allows them to have a time where they don't focus on the household problems or friendship struggles or the school struggles. You give yourself a time to focus on something else.
Physical activity is a form of meditation. It's getting you in the zone. You're only focusing on the present moment,
Yes.
on the here and the now. So it makes sense. And it's one place where I've always found comfort.
Yeah.
So I know if I feel in the dumps, I know once I go break a sweat, I'm going to feel maybe not always like $1,000,000, but I'm going to feel like some couple bucks at least. I'm going to feel that's like, that is where I know I've got it. I've mentioned to you before, like I feel like I am Sparta.
Yes.
I like to see like what am I made of? How
Mhm.
far down can I dig and then find some more and push myself? I need to be moving.
Yeah.
And then when you exercise, you all of a sudden want to eat
healthy.
better. Like it goes hand in hand. And then when you're exercising and you're eating well, then you're more confident. And by doing those things, you're showing yourself self worth and self love. And then
Mhm.
by doing that, you have more like confidence and courage to have these big goals and these visions and
Yes.
better decisions because you know what it feels like. All of these domains relate to each other. I often think
Yeah.
of if you're not exercising or moving your body or not eating healthy, then where else is that trickling? Like we said with the or breathe, if you're not breathing, like is your stomach upset? And then is
Yes.
that affecting your face? And then is that affecting your confidence? And then since you're low confidence, is that affecting the decisions you're
The
making?
lack of
Like
sleep.
the lack of sleep, just
Mhm.
everything, it all.
It all ties in together for sure. When I think about exercising, when I was bodybuilding, I really started learning about calories, about
Mhm.
carbs and sugar. And I would buy a product and say, okay, if I eat this, how much time is it going to take for me to burn this off? How many miles do I have to run? And so you start thinking differently. You start thinking a little smarter. You start buying food that's good for you. You start learning about other factors of health and nutrition that are going to affect your sleep. They're going to affect
Mhm.
the way that you exercise and the way that you move. What country did you say?
I was going to say, I'm really glad that Kennedy is going to be hopefully in charge of our health
I hope.
and our fitness or our food. A lot of other countries, what they do is they put on your package of chips. If you eat this chip, then it's going to take you this long riding a bike to burn off the calories, this long running, this long swimming. So you're making the decision right there, like, oh, this kombucha is not 300 calories. What is it? 70.
70 calories.
So you would have to do X amount of workout to burn
Mhm.
this kombucha off.
Yeah, and it's not bad. I mean, it's so delicious. What kind of kombucha girl are you? I'm a pink lady apple. I love pink lady.
I love anything with ginger. So I try to find anything for ginger for the digestive system.
Yes.
Like
I
a
have
ginger
tea.
turmeric one would be
Mhm.
amazing. This one is blood orange, carrot, and ginger, but both by Health Aid.
They're so good.
Mhm.
The fifth domain is tenacity. And when I think of tenacity, I think about being persistent, having persistence, and having realistic optimism. Like, I feel like you are that person that's always very optimistic. And I think that allows somebody to bounce back, having the ability to bounce back from something negative that happened or when they're feeling down. And I think having the ability to look for not only is the glass half full, but having the ability to look at, okay, yes, you're going through this. This is difficult, but what else can you look at to change your mind and give you that persistence to be able to bounce back? What do you do? So what do you do? What do you focus on?
I enjoy going to the ocean and looking out at the ocean waves and thinking to myself lately, I've been thinking, I'm upset over this one person or this one situation. But look at the abundance that's out there. Endless. The opportunities are endless. They're flowing to me. There is no lack of opportunities flowing to me. And truly believing that saying again that what's for me will find me, that God, universe, whatever you believe in, has a plan. And
Yes.
truly trusting in that plan.
Yes.
What's the serenity prayer?
God grant me the ability to
Accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
yes. Yes, yes, that is it.
So just being tenacious, or like you have the choice of, like we talked about with the hike, like I can choose to sit here and be a victim and feel sorry for myself, and what is that going to get me? Where am I going to go
No,
from there?
right.
Or I can choose to get my butt up and do the work and get uncomfortable and push through and have faith and believe that it's all going to work out. I don't know which one sounds better to you.
Yeah. I mean,
And
it's a given.
who do people want to be around?
Yeah, having the ability to trust. It is difficult to trust life and all of the difficult things that come at you, but having the ability to trust the process and having that that belief that things will get better and that you will gain control of your life. You only give away your control. And a lot of
Mm.
us feel like because we feel horrible, I've lost control of my life. Like, no, you don't lose control. You might feel lost at that time, but you have a sense of emotion, and you're just feeling very, very lost, and you might feel confused, but you're still here. You still can get your direction and gain that life and that positive outlook back.
Yeah, that it's never too late.
No, you can reinvent yourself. And I love the reinventing yourself part.
Again, that can be so fun, like you said about the, like, that person didn't work out. So exciting because
Yes,
the right person is going to work
right.
out.
Some people might lose a friend and they feel
Mhm.
helpless. For me, it's the relationships that have really put me in a very bad place. I I had a very toxic relationship. Like, I really felt defeated. I felt like, how the hell did I get here? What am I doing? Why? Just all the questions in the world.
Mm.
Why am I here? Why am I going through this? How can I pick myself up? There was so much growth in that breakup. There was so much to learn from. I immediately bought a book, and I forget the title of it, but it was basically how to get over a breakup.
Mm.
How to mend a broken heart. Maybe that's the title. And I swear to you, it helped me so much. That book helped me, but I wasn't always resilient. That time was a very difficult time in my life where I went to a therapist and I said, "You have to help me here. Am I losing it?" I went to a therapist for confirmation that I was right. That was my why. I went to seek help because I thought this relationship failed, but it wasn't me. And why did this happen? And why did I choose this person? And just, I was angry. I was angry.
Mhm.
I was lost. I was hurt. I was everything. And when I went to therapy, my therapist said, "Okay, well, I get that you're upset. I understand. Like, we're going to talk about your breakup. Tell me about your childhood. Tell me about,
Mm.
how many siblings you have. Tell me about what you remember as a child." And I'm looking at him thinking, okay, I'm not here to talk about my mother. I'm here to talk about this breakup. And he's like, "I understand. Okay, let's make a deal. Let's talk about your breakup and then let's talk about the questions that I want you to answer." It took years of work to understand why I had chosen that person, why I was in such horrible relationship and how I got there. And it was all self-value. I lacked self-value. I
Love,
lacked
yeah.
self-love. I lacked vision of what I saw myself as. And I think that these domains really allow you to think about where you are now, where you want to be, what you've gone through, and what tools you can utilize to get you to a place where you want to be, because I wasn't always this resilient.
No, I can relate, and it's so cool that you can look back now, and I feel the same. The thing that broke you and sent you on your knees is the thing I am most grateful for,
Yeah,
because that's where
the growth.
so much growth happened,
Mhm.
from where I got really uncomfortable and also realized
Oh
how
yeah.
much I wasn't choosing me.
Yeah.
I was putting everybody and everything else above me. I was always So of course I felt lack. Of course I didn't love myself because I was putting everybody else above me. Like, no, this is my show. This is
Yes.
my story, and I'm in control of my life. You're not going to knock me down on my life anymore. Like,
Mhm.
I am the driver. And so, all the cool tools that we learned, I read this book this year called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. And one of the tools that he has you do is, I wish I remembered the name of the author, is on your inhales saying, I love you. And on your exhale, say, thank you.
So
Inhale, I love you.
I love you, and then
Exhale, thank
thank you.
you. Or I've done a lot this year of mirror work. Have you ever looked in the mirror and just repeat over and over again, even if you're crying your eyes out when you're saying it, say all the nice things or do the manifesting things as if they've already happened. Like,
Uh-huh.
you are the most beautiful, amazing person. You have such a bright light and everybody gravitates towards you. Like, just keep saying this stuff. The work of the meditation, of exercising, of moving
Yes.
your body, eating
You know
right.
what's funny? Years ago, actually, right after that happened, I used to listen to the positive affirmations. So I would listen to it, and I would drive my daughter, and I'm listening to my AirPods, and I'm repeating, "You are beautiful. You will."
Reprogramming, yes.
Yeah, reprogramming your thoughts. And my daughter is like, "Oh, mom, are you listening to your funny recordings again?" She's like, "Who's that lady talking? Why does she keep repeating herself?" So she thought it was the weirdest thing, and I laugh because it's work that you think is, somebody might think, God, you're so weird,
Oh my
but
goodness, I have gotten extremely weird, but it works.
it does.
It works and I feel better. So I don't really care what anybody thinks because guess what? This is my life. And these are the tools that work for me. And have you tried them? Because if you haven't tried them, you're knocking them before
You
you try.
should.
Like
You
your
should.
daughter, I bet one day, especially as a woman, she might start her affirmations.
So she was little at that point, and so sometimes she was sleeping. And you can play them while you're
Oh, see, I
sleeping.
can't do that when I sleep. It gave me bad nightmares. But
Did it?
that could be like there's so many.
And so I would play them for her, and she would just fall asleep so quickly. And these are just tools. I love them, and I remember them, and
Most
the
definitely.
reason why I am thriving now, because I was a broken person. I was an anxious person. I went to the emergency room 3 times during that horrible time because I had panic attacks. I was just doing the wrong things, and those wrong things, I'm happy that I did them, and I understood that they weren't good for me, and I was able to look for resources that could
Mhm.
help me and utilize them to make me a better person.
Right. Well, and I think it's so important because, again, I can relate, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners can relate. Like, you're not alone if you have anxiety. You're not alone if you feel depressed and you don't always
No.
feel motivated. I was like you, I was looking for everything and anything. I found hypnotherapy this year, and two things I'll share that he said. One of them, he had you think about if you continue to stay in the same mindset a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, not only what would your life look like, the young people in your life, how would they view you? So, my nieces and
Mm.
nephews, if I stay in the same spot I'm at and the same way I'm putting off the same thing, when they're all teenagers, how are
Mhm.
they going to look at their Aunt Chelsea? When they're adults, how are they going to view me?
Huh.
So, to like look at it through the eyes of babes as the
Yeah.
babes growing up. But also, one motivating, beautiful thing that he said was to envision a road that is behind you and allow yourself to go travel down that road. And that's the life you've already lived because
Mhm.
so many of us live in the past.
Yes.
If you're living in the past, you are depressed. If you're living in the future,
You're
you're
anxious.
anxious. And if
Absolutely.
you have peace, you're living in the present. Go down, allow yourself to go down that path and then allow yourself to look forward.
Mhm.
And that forward is a bright rainbow. And not only is there a bright rainbow, you're now going to let go and allow yourself to ride that rainbow as if it's a slide. Just slide down the rainbow of the life that you have yet to live. Like, there's so much
Yeah.
greatness ahead of you if you stop looking at the behind,
Mhm.
which is a big struggle I have had for
Oh,
many
yeah.
years of like, I messed up my opportunity. That was the best time of my life. I'm never going to be that pretty again. Stop it. Look forward.
I'm anxious, so I don't like the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like not knowing things, or like if I'm watching a movie and I watch half of it, it really bothers me to not know the ending.
Oh.
Before my therapy, I would often think about something that bothered me and replay it and replay it, and thought like, oh, I could have said this, I could have done that. And it would just kill me. I used to just obsess over thoughts or over situations that had already happened.
A hamster, no control.
Yeah, and I would beat myself up and say, "Why did I say that? I could have said this. Why didn't I think of this? Why didn't I think of that?" And I started realizing that that was the most unhealthiest thing, and
It's not productive.
no, it isn't productive at all. Why obsess over something that happened? Or if I was in a situation where somebody said something mean to me, I would worry about, well, why did they say that to me? Why didn't they like me? Did I do something wrong? And then I would start obsessing, what did I do? What did I do before then? Could it have been this, could it have been that? And I would worry about stuff like that. Like I almost would say that I was a people pleaser and I wanted people to like me, because why else would I obsess over somebody being rude to me, or why didn't I get picked, or why didn't they call me? What did I say? I struggled with all of that. And it does cause a lot of anxiety and depression. You're not living in the moment.
No.
You're obsessing over things that are out of your control, and you don't realize it until you put a stop to it. I literally had to like shake my head physically and say, stop, stop, stop. What are you feeling now? What do you see? Like, name 5 things that you see.
Yes.
Name 5 things that
Yes,
that
yes,
you
yes.
feel, to get yourself to this present time. Everything you're picturing in your head of what you expect the future to look like. And that's not healthy either.
No, it would sometimes cripple me so much to make a decision. Like I didn't want to make the wrong decision because I had been told in the past so many times. There's my reasoning of that I've made the wrong decisions. So now I don't even want to make a decision because I'm afraid I'm going to make the wrong decision. Like, no, just
make a decision.
Make a decision. Just move forward. Just take one step. Just get up. That's all there is to it.
Yes.
Just breathe, be in the present moment, and take a step forward. Make an action. Do something. It's interesting. This podcast, I've had the most resistance of this. This is like the most vulnerable. I'm doing a lot of things right now, and this podcast is the thing I like resist the most. And then it's just like going to the gym. Once you show up, you're like, it's actually not that bad, and it's actually not that scary. Like it's just showing up and doing it.
Absolutely. And the more you think about certain things, the more it cripples you.
And is it serving me? Like, is this negative? Like, just remind yourself, like, is it serving me? Is it true? Am I positive that this thought is true? Like, and if none of those are helping you, then ditch it.
Yeah. Yeah. The path of least resistance.
Yeah. And like you said, just focus on like, look up into the sky, notice, oh, the birds chirping. The trees are really green. Oh, wow. I'm really grateful for this day. I'm really grateful for this connection.
Yeah.
Just find all of the good, because when you look for the good, you're going to find more good.
Yes.
When you look for the bad, you're going to find more bad.
Yes. So this brings us to the last domain, which is collaboration. And this is exactly what you're talking about right now. The collaboration between support networks. And I know this isn't like a support network, but we're collaborating and we are putting our energy together to create something. And the creative process is so beautiful and magical. I think that is where you build happiness. What we're doing with our time, with our vision, with our resources, and managing your perceptions, because we feed off of each other, and your perception of what might be overwhelming, difficult, could be just erased based on the way that we're collaborating and we're feeding off of each other, and could change your perspective. I often would go through struggles alone because I didn't want to be a burden to someone. I still, to some degree, struggle seeking out for comfort and help and support in that area. And I'm getting better at it. Have you struggled seeking collaboration
I think, yes, I went through a time, especially this past year, where I I was told that my energy did something. So I was so convinced that if I told you my baggage and I went to you, that I was going to bring you down, and that was the last thing I wanted to do,
Oh,
was to bring you down. And that's where we met in the Beast Games. The Beast Games totally gave me a second shot of life. Like I said, I didn't think I could get
wow.
back up. And so many times in my life, being a cat with nine lives, I would get knocked down and then get back up, and psh, I'm in a new direction, and psh, I'm in a new direction. And this past year, I just, nothing was doing that for me. And then here comes the games, which was an unexpected thing. And we started with 2,000 people,
Mhm.
and the people that you I became friends with and gravitated towards, and then going back to those affirmations and the things you're putting out, all of a
Yes.
sudden these affirmations and the things I'm putting out, these random people started saying these things back to
Mhm.
me, and they were the opposite of what I had been hearing. And so I was started being affirmed, and not that I'm being dependent on what other people are saying, because I
But they
was
were confirming what your reality was.
what my reality was. And I felt, yeah, like I had a community, like I wasn't the oddball out. I'm 35 years old, I'm not married, and I don't have children, and I consider myself more of an artist, and I've
Yeah.
lived more of an artist life, which to a traditional person seems off. Or maybe my ego says that people think like, what's wrong with her that she's not married yet? What's this? What's that? And like, I don't
Yeah.
have this normal 9 to 5 job. But then here I am surrounded by these beautiful, successful people. And guess what? None of them are your traditional cookie
Yeah.
cutter. And they're all doing it. And I'm viewing them and I'm seeing them. So it gave me like the mindset of like, why not me?
Yeah.
Like this time,
Why?
like why not me? Like, but that
And
came from.
what makes that person that gave you that negative feedback, what makes them correct?
And you know what? Looking back, maybe at that time, my wavelength and my energy was like that. But also, the roots of who I am are not that, because I actually have been super blessed throughout my life with amazing friends and amazing relationships, like throughout like the world.
Yes.
But I chose to like wallow. I chose to be a victim in this one person's thought or opinion. And again, maybe to them that was right. So I'm like,
Right.
each person their own. But I had to regain my own self.
Mhm.
And the best way for me to do that was to be around other like minded people,
Yes.
to collaborate and be in a community, to be doing the things I love with people who also love doing the things I
Yes.
love. And guess what? There's nothing wrong with us.
No,
Like for
there is
wanting
nothing
to.
wrong with you.
So, yeah, I think community is so important, and there's so many. You don't have to go do the Beast Games to
No.
find a community, right? There's
Right.
meetups, there's support groups,
Mhm.
there's workout groups, there's endless ways. You can even meet a friend online and then meet them in
Yeah.
person. I will say that that's why I think podcasts like this are so important, or
Mhm.
speaking to your friends about how you feel, or your community about how you feel, because oftentimes, just like we talked about anxiety and depression, you're not the only one feeling that
No.
way. I had a friend told me the other day, he's like, well, am I a little extra? And I know I'm extra, and I know I'm this and I'm that. And I'm like, no, thank you for being extra, because your being extra allows me to be my extra. Like that's really how it works. Like when I decided and told people out loud, like I actually want to be an actor, it was my best friend from my hometown. I think I was 14 years old, maybe,
Uh-huh.
and she's 2 grades above me. And I got into her car, and she had a whole bunch of fashion magazines on the bottom of her floor
Yeah.
of her car.
Mhm.
And I was like, what are these? She's like, I'm going to be a supermodel. And I was like,
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to be an actor. You putting yourself out there saying that you're going to be extra,
Allows
like
me to be extra.
someone else might be feeling the same way, but they're scared.
Yeah.
And so I actually gave that a thought last night, thinking like, me holding myself back isn't just affecting me. It could be affecting
Somebody else.
somebody else that I'm then giving them permission.
Mhm.
And that's not looking at myself as being like that's just like, it's the
Yeah,
ripple
right.
effect. Do it. Yeah, just go. Who cares what
Yes.
anybody else thinks?
A lot of people I feel want to do something different, but of course it's so scary
Mhm.
to say I don't want to do my 9 to 5 job. I can't do that because I have this responsibility or that responsibility. It's tough. And then not only that, but what will your family think?
Well, what will everybody think? Well, that in the
What
going
will
back
yeah.
into the first domain of the vision in that Mel Robbins workbook, she says when you're setting these goals, like, what scares you about setting this
Uh-huh.
goal? What are the fears? I guess to break those down, just like you would break down your goal, like break down your fear.
Right.
Like, why? Where did it come from? Where does it
Mhm.
resonate? When does it happen? What are the tools? Like, and it might not be practical for someone to quit their 9 to 5 job right
Right.
away, but having and carving out specific time
Mm.
that you do it, and then little by little, inch
Yes.
by inch, and
You work at it.
it is scary.
Right.
But fear and excitement are really similar emotions, and you only have one life to live. And
Yes.
life, as you get older, it goes by so,
Oh my
so
gosh.
fast. Like, I don't want to use the word scary, but scary fast.
Yes. I can't believe I'm gonna be 40. I'm almost half a century old.
You look good, girl. I'm about to be 36, and is this where I thought my life would be at 36? Heck no. However, and I've been saying this since college, it's way more interesting and
Yeah.
cool than I could have actually ever imagined. All the twists and turns, all the different relationships that
Yes.
I cherish. I actually wouldn't change anything. If I would have been in that same situation that I was so upset about, then I wouldn't have probably gone on the Beast Games. Then I probably wouldn't have met you. Then I
Mhm.
probably wouldn't have been doing this podcast,
Absolutely.
something I had been wanting to do for many years. Like it's really cool.
Building resilience is not only interesting, it's challenging. You're challenging yourself to grow, to build, to change the way you think, change your momentum, change your thought process, change your action and your purpose. It's reinventing yourself to becoming a better specimen, to be able to adapt and again recover from difficult situations because life will throw so many difficult situations. No life is perfect.
Yeah, that's the only constant is change.
Yes.
We can't control the wind, but we can control where we're going to put our sail.
Mhm.
Uh,